Hello and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. It is great to have another day of community building because some of us missed y'all. I took a couple of weeks off when my dad died, and there was the holidays, and all of that happened at once. And it is great to be back and great to be back in the community. And today I have with me the one and only Brain Bug.
Hey, Granny. It's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody in the chat out there. And I'm yeah, I've been a little busy this at the start of the year here, so I got a lot of stuff scheduled to be coming up. But I'm glad I could squeeze in some time to come over here and hang out with your community building stream. And glad I get to be on here with Chris again because I haven't been on anything with Chris in quite a while. So good to see you, Chris.
Yeah, good to see you as well. It feels like forever. I was just sort of thinking back on it earlier. I thought it would probably be 6 months since we've been on the stream together.
Yeah, it was with Manda on the six pack. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that is going back about 6 months.
Right.
At
Yeah,
least.
it's been a while.
Time flies, hey?
Yeah.
And Chris, I believe this is the first time I've ever had you on my channel.
Is it? I thought I've been on before.
I've invited Chris a number of times, and it just has never worked out. And then there was a time when Chris was kind of laying off the live streams for a bit. But last week in Six Pack, Chris said he was back to being ready to do more. So I immediately invited him and got him finally.
Well, you know what? I feel honoured to be here. I hadn't, because you've been on my channel a few times.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad I'm able to. Well, you know, it might cost you a few subscribers having me here. You know, I'm sure to offend a couple of people. You know, especially once they discover that I'm secretly Ken Ham.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Don't tell anyone though. Okay, everyone in the chat, you're all sworn to secrecy.
So so we can ask you questions about the Ark encounter, huh?
Well, absolutely.
First, I need to mention a couple of things, and that is that Junkshop Library was scheduled to be on the show, and he may still get here. Junkshop is having some tech issues, and if Junkshop is able to get those tech issues resolved, then Junkshop will be joining us as well. And finally, Jyuni the Apostate is also scheduled to be with us, but Jyuni lives on the West Coast where it is only 5 o'clock in the evening, and Jyuni is just getting off work and trying to get home, and so Jyuni will be joining us, but Jyuni is going to be a little bit late because Jyuni needs a chance to get home first and get set up. So
Junkshop can make it because I miss Junkshop. It's been so long.
I miss Junkshop too.
Hang out.
Yeah, that makes three of us. I love Junkshop.
Yeah.
You hear that, Junkshop? We all love you. And if you can't make it, you be active in the chat, and we'll highlight all your comments.
No one reads the Book of Mormon like Junkshop.
Oh. No one reads the KJV like Junkshop. Really, I miss going back through the begats.
I think we should all hire Junkshop just to read religious texts on our channels.
Julie says Junkshop is junk shopping. I know you all are shocked. And Mr. Shadow Kitty says it's Junkshop having tech issues. Why, that's unheard of.
Junkshop is junk shopping is in the Urban Dictionary. Did you know that?
And speak of the devil, here he
there
is.
It is.
I'm sorry. Here they are.
We said Junkshop's name 3 times, and that was it.
That's
how many
right.
times did we? Well, I think we said it more than that. We got to keep track next time so that we can help him with the tech issues.
Now I can't hear anything. Bloody hell!
We can hear you.
You.
We can hear you just fine, Junkshop. And I better put that in the chat since they can't hear that.
Does Junkshop know American Sign Language?
I don't know. Do you, Bree?
No.
Oh, okay. I know some. Okay.
I know the alphabet.
I can hear y'all. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Just fine.
Bloody hell. Okay, good. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
It's been too long, my friend.
It has. It has.
Way too long.
Yeah. So, how's things in the library?
Messy.
I
But
see
beyond that, I can't complain too much, and it wouldn't do me any good if I did. So,
Yes. Well, you're looking gorgeous as always. Not as
Thank
gorgeous
you, my
as you
friend.
look in our thumbnail for this video. Granny picks those
oh
vanity
yeah,
shots we did.
went back there a minute for that thumbnail. I was that
Actually,
one came back to haunt me.
I have a folder where I keep people's thumbnails, and then I just reuse them over and over. And I've had that one of you in that folder there for, gosh, probably a year now. Although I recently deleted the photo that I have of you, Brainbug.
Yeah.
I don't think you want that one out anymore, so I deleted that one.
Yeah. I've got some different ones. I'll send you some. But I don't mind you using my icon. I think and just so everybody knows that Chris has kids running around the house, so that's why we get icon today. But
Yeah, it's this is my actually it's one of the reasons I'm able to start streaming more, well, to do more things that are probably US time friendly, because it's right now it's just hit midday for me, which you would think normally would be a good time, except for the fact that it's usually when I have kids running around everywhere, which isn't really conducive to streaming. But very excited as of next week. All of them are at school, and I have freedom for the first time in many years. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be able to do a lot more. But yeah, it's I don't think we want. They're generally pretty good if they know what I'm doing, but there'd be half a chance of a 5-year-old running up who has absolutely no sense of. This is streaming live on the internet, darling, and is likely to just come up and midway through a conversation say, "Can I have something to eat?"
yeah,
Even though I'm not the only parent here.
I
So
get
how's the
get kids that pop up over here sometimes. Sometimes you'll see my arm waving over here because I'm like telling them to go here, come there.
So how's the weather in your neck of the woods, Chris?
Well, it's the Australian summer, and I can tell you all, I'm rugged up with my a very very warm dressing gown on at the moment because it's freezing. It's just we're having one of those summer days where it feels like a winter day. So but it's not raining, it's not snowing. It's I keep seeing all these pictures of a lot of people in North America with like more snow in their driveway than I've ever seen in my life. So I probably shouldn't complain about the cold. I know that when I've mentioned that it's cold and the temperature before, I've been laughed at often by Americans. So it's 18 degrees Celsius here at the moment, which I don't know if anyone knows a quick conversion.
Probably about 60.
64 degrees.
Yep.
So it's freezing.
Okay.
It's I guess about like 20 or like 20 degrees here, something like that. It's below zero in the upper Midwest here. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's supposed to
currently-
get down to 40 below Fahrenheit. Yeah, on the northeast coast tonight.
Hang on, 40, but I didn't think things got below zero on Fahrenheit. I didn't think it ever got that cold.
You got to be kidding.
In the Northeast?
The Fahrenheit Celsius, it's not a straightforward conversion. It's
No, it's not.
It's a weird one. Like it's miles to kilometers are easy because it's 1.6 kilometers to a mile. I can sort of work that out, and inches to centimeter. You know what? Considering you've got the dollar, it's amazing that you haven't moved to the metric system on everything else. But that's okay. Metric system rocks, by the way. So it's
agree.
but the Fahrenheit to Celsius has always eluded me.
Okay, just
hang
in
on.
case says minus 40 Fahrenheit is equal to minus 40 Celsius.
What, minus 40?
Yeah, but zero Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit. So
Right.
the differences between a degree Celsius is bigger than the difference between a degree Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm. But I'm really surprised that you're saying that you didn't realize it got that cold, because where I grew up on the southwest side of Milwaukee, I remember the year we set a record for 150 consecutive days where we never got above freezing.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's where I live is probably regarded as the coldest, or one of the coldest parts of Australia. But it will dip below zero occasionally, but it's pretty rare. That's pretty rare, unless it's winter and certain times of the early hours of the morning. It's when I see the coldest I've ever experienced in my life was -10 Celsius, and that was on a camping trip where we got there and it started snowing on us right up in the mountains. But apart from, and that was once again the early hours of the morning, and it got above zero after that. So it's with Celsius, for those who don't know, it's nice and simple.
Degrees.
Well, zero is the freezing point. So water freezes at zero, and 100 is where water boils. So that's how Celsius works, and everything in between is everything in between. But it's I think it was I don't know if you all know Catherine Roberts. She's a former pastor, Canadian. She posted some pictures from her front lawn, and seriously, I think we've got snowfields here in Australia that would get jealous with that snowfall.
Yeah, if only there was a
for a
God.
day.
If only there was a God that was just kind of even things out and make it about the same everywhere.
Actually, I've got some good news for you. There
What's
is.
that?
No, there is. I was watching a video by I know a friend of the channel, Ken Ham, this morning, who was explaining it all and had some great scientific answers. You'd love him. I know you're a big fan. When I had a scientific question, anytime I've got a scientific question, Granny always says, "Go to Ken Ham. Go to Ken Ham. Go straight to the source. Don't listen to all these other scientists, because you know what? They weren't there, but Ken Ham was."
Ken Ham has a book by someone who was there anyway, and can just read.
Well, that's it. And that proves it. That proves it. Checkmate.
Who else can read that book? Junkshop library.
It's the transitive property of having been there then. It's like, I myself was not there, but I read a book by someone who was.
Well, actually, Junkshop, I'm going to be honest with you. It was your beautiful reading of many of those holy books that converted me. I briefly became a Mormon because of the way you read that Book of Mormon.
Did you get the wooden submarines yet before you had to call it a quits on that?
Well, I'm
Not yet.
I'm looking forward to living on the space station orbiting the planet Kolob, and one day, like all the other Mormons. That should be fun.
That sounds lit. I mean,
oh yeah. It's you know what? It's not just Scientologists who have crazy beliefs. There's Mormons as well.
Everyone has crazy beliefs,
especially me.
Well, I wasn't going to say it.
The atheists have crazy beliefs.
So, Granny, why don't you tell us a little bit about what this community building streams are all about?
It's a way to replace what we don't get from the Christian community, because the best thing that the Christian community has to offer is community. They've got a built-in place where they support one another. They get to know one another. They have a built-in group of friends that they can turn to in time of trouble. And so the community building is just a chance for us to get to know one another better, shoot the breeze, and just know enough about each other so that when one of us has an issue, we can come to each other with those issues.
That's one of the I'll apologize in advance as well, because I'm on the other side of the planet. Sometimes there can be a slight delay. I think it's about a 1 or 2 second delay, but sometimes it's enough for me to either seem like I'm talking over someone or sort of very briefly jump in and then jump out realizing what's going on. I've gotten used to it, but not everyone else has. So if you think I'm talking over you, I'm not, I promise. Or maybe I am, and that's just my excuse for being rude. Could go either way. But I was going to say, it's community is something that the church does focus on. I know that that when I was, well, I guess, learning to be a pastor and going through like Bible college, there's as much emphasis on how to deal with people and how to build communities as there is on what the Bible actually says, or any of the other stuff. And for a lot of people, the hardest part of leaving religion is leaving that community. I actually know people who are very much atheist, who would hold the same theological viewpoint as me, but they will call themselves a Christian because they like the community, they like the ritual, they like the tradition, they like that sense of it. It's something that they do. I guess it's almost like being involved in any kind of social group. It's hard to leave. It's hard to leave, especially where you've built friendships up over years. And I think it's something that we do need to do better in secular communities. I think we do need to find ways to, I guess, be there for each other. I know it can be a lot more difficult when it's over the internet. But there's a way. There's a way, and certainly, I find, especially in the troubling years that we've had, I think we've all gotten a little bit better at building relationships online, and genuine relationships. I guess there's always some separation from the real world, and I'll use that in inverted commas, but I think we have an opportunity to really sort of build on it and to sort of, so I've lost not lost my train of thought, but
yeah, I get what you're saying about we need to make this a space, have a place where people can communicate with each other and interact with each other. That's like what people find in a church community. The problem we run into is that other than maybe the answer to just a couple of real worldview questions, some of us don't have a lot in common with one another. That's unfortunate, but there's a lot of variety, and sometimes it's only that one question: is there a God? And you say no, you're an atheist, but you could have totally different views compared to somebody else who answers that question the same.
I think there's an advantage to that, though. You look within churches. There's a lot of different viewpoints. I know that I think we tend to forget how, I guess, the variety of characters that there are in churches. It's very easy, I think, for us to, from the outside especially, to view all people in any one group as being the same, whereas it's not the case. And I think we can actually learn a lot from the church in that, in how they'll bring people who really only have one thing in common, which is that they believe in a God, together. You'll find, I remember sort of having people from all walks of life in my church. You would be amazed who was there, and some of the thoughts and political opinions, different sexualities within the church. It's really very, there's a lot of variety there. I think. What I'm trying to say is we can learn from that. We can learn from the way that they build communities, because they're very good at it, and really we can do something similar, and even find subgroups within those communities. Like it's people who are, I don't know, people are into bugs, sports, bugs, bug enthusiasts. We can have it. And we can, you can sort of have subgroups within a main group, common interests. I think that's something we could do.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And just even, the good thing about this online community allows us to absorb people from all over the world instead of just whatever community we're in, like you run and do with a church. But the problem with that is that you also absorb everybody from all over the world into it, and that comes with a lot of good people and a lot of bad people, and it turns in where to draw the lines on your people groups and everything. Who is going to represent my understanding on this subject, and that's another thing too, is you can choose to go along with this person on this subject, but you can oppose them on a different topic and still be a part of the same community and engage with them even about the topics you disagree about.
Well, I can tell you as a conservative atheist, there's plenty of people who disagree with me on a lot of things, in particular, political issues. It's and funnily enough, I've had some interesting conversations. There's some people who probably wouldn't engage with me because of that, and that's fine. If that's what people choose to do. I think we do need to be more accepting, though. In general, I think
I agree.
And we've also got to remember where people are at. It's a lot of people will come out of religion in particular. And when they come out of religion, it's not like one day they wake up, realize that there's no God, and their viewpoint on everything shifts. For a lot of people, it's a gradual shift. I was discussing it with Oz from Tang the other day, and I liken it to when you go out. Religion's like when you go out and you have a big night on the drink, and then the next day you wake up, but you've still got that hangover, even though you're no longer out and doing it. And I think a lot of us will have a hangover on some issues for a long time. I've seen people who would, as they come out of religion, would hold some views that I think the majority of the community would probably sort of go, "Oh, hang on, no, that's not okay." But that's just because of where they're at. They've just made a decision on one issue, and the rest will tend to follow, because there's a lot of issues that really, I think, in the world are only issues, or are only people will only have problems with because of religion. So I think we've got to be a little bit more mindful and understand that there is a process. I've seen a lot of people sort of shut out of the community before they have the opportunity to get in. I know that when I first came into the community, I almost left immedately. There was some, and I understand that people are people, and I'm pretty resilient, so it was probably lucky it was me, but I wonder if it happens to other people who maybe just go, you know what, this is all too hard. I'm out. I'm done. Everything they said in church about these people, yep, they're right. So I think we have to be, as hard as it can be, we have to be more accepting. We have to be more open to ideas that potentially we don't like, because if nothing else, they're a conversation we can have.
Chris, I think you need to clarify a joke that you made earlier.
No, I'm definitely not an ex-Mormon. No, I'm an ex-Pentecostal Christian. Definitely not a Mormon.
I want to say hello to everyone in the chat, because there's a lot of people there that are saying hi to me, and I've been trying to catch them, and I can't keep up with the conversation and type in the chat too all the time. So hello Seraphim, hello Almost a Doctor, hello John Christian, hello Maya, hello Julie, hello Krabby Hermit, hello Mr. Shadow Kitty, hello Alias Fake Name, hello Reason, hello Nicodemus, hello, Student Dr. Ben, and anyone else that I missed. But thank you all for coming. There was one that I intentionally skipped because I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just talking about building communities and how to build communities. And if you're just popping in, we're talking about right now that, and I think we can all agree that that religion does offer a better safe haven as far as community does than being a non-believer. And what steps we can take to try to mitigate that, I don't know. It's again, right now we have an advantage, or a kind of an opening. The world has opened up to us since everything else is on lockdown. Everybody, even churches are communicating this way, and now our community gets a chance to try to shine and show that we can get along. A lot of our community lately has been imploding. There's been a lot of schisms and a lot of infighting. But I'm hoping that at some point, when the dust settles, we'll have at least some reminiscence of a community that we can be proud of.
I think it's also worth remembering we're all humans, we're all people. Within every grouping of people, you're always going to have a bit of infighting. You're always going to have personalities that, for no obvious reason, just don't like each other, just don't get along, and that's okay. That's, you know, I look at it this way: if everyone in the world liked me, it would be a very boring world.
I like that. I like that.
It's. I think we've got to acknowledge that it's going to happen, and acknowledge that we can't always find a solution for it, and that sometimes it's best to just go, well, you know what, person A and person B, well, they just don't get along. It is what it is. I think where it gets dangerous is where people try to cancel, or, you know, I've seen cases, and it really bugs me where, you know, it's person A doesn't get along with person B, so they expect that everyone else must have nothing to do with person B. That's
Right.
That's completely wrong. That's the kind of toxic behavior that we don't want in the community.
Basically shunning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's, you know, that's, you know, the shunning that can stay with the religious.
I was just going to say, some atheists act like they're religious people.
Yeah.
Out of all the things that we could borrow from religion, shunning
Like, is
should
this
not be
the
on
one
list.
that we hung on to? Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, you know, couldn't we at least have held on to the, you know, the tea and cookies after church? You know, that's the one I want to hang on to. But ultimately, we're all humans. This is a group of people, and talk about a diverse group of people. I mean, you know, it's, how often would any of you? I mean, you're all on the same part of the world, but, you know, you're talking to an Australian conservative ex-evangelical preacher. You know, it's funny how within this community we're able to connect with such a diverse group of people. Like some of the friendships I've made here, like Jay, my co-host over on Hereticals. You know, who would have thought years ago that I would have met someone like him? A Buddhist from Michigan who's become one of my best friends. It's crazy. But it's good. We can really build on the diversity, I think, and I don't know. It's nice to meet interesting people. I don't want to meet people like me all the time. But I want to meet some people like me. But I try and this is me personally. I don't like living in a bubble. You know, I don't want to have that echo chamber with everyone who thinks like me, everyone who talks like me, holds the same opinion. You know, we all talk about the same thing over and over again. I want to talk to people who completely disagree with me. I want to not necessarily change my opinion, but I want to understand why people think differently to me. You know, what leads to that. You know, I want to understand different points of view. I think that's how we all grow. And that is the opportunity we have in this community. We have the opportunity to have conversations with so many different people from so many different backgrounds. You know, I think within religion, because religious groupings are often tied to your location as well. You know, as people who are, you know, are Islamic tend to have, you know, that Middle Eastern connection. You know, people who are, you know, Christian, you know, you tend to have that Western connection, and so on and so on. But what a wonderfully diverse group of people we have here. I just think that's something to be celebrated.
Yeah, that's
And
what I was thinking about, being cosmopolitan like we are, and having people from all over the globe. Because you know, when I was growing up, there wasn't people. I live in a very religious area, so everybody was, you know, one flavor of Protestant or the other. So I didn't have a lot of diversity, and now it's nice to be able to interact with everybody. And I'm sorry I stepped on you, Granny. Were you about to welcome Jyuni to the chat?
Yes, I wanted to welcome Jyuni. Thank you for coming, Jyuni. Jyuni, I already explained to everyone that you're on the West Coast and you just got off work and you were trying to rush home as quickly as you could, but yeah, this is not the best time for you.
Well, first of all, yay, I'm finally here. I'm sorry, everyone.
Don't think you're getting out of the spankings, though. You're still getting the spankings.
Yeah, I mean, I deserve it. But
Yeah, you're a bad girl.
actually, I'm in the Midwest, surprisingly, so I'm in the same time zone as most of you. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's strange for me to be getting off of a dental office this late, but we have our special patients that we treat as VIP, and so yeah, we stay late for them.
I'm a VIP at my dentist office.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the second month in a row that I've shown up fashionably late for the same reason. So maybe it's just the week. I don't know. But yeah, I'm so happy to see everybody here, especially you, Junkshop. I have not seen your lovely face in a while. So
we've been fawning all
minute.
over them since they got here. We're like, yay, Junkshop's here. 'Cause
I know.
none of us have been able to do anything with Junkshop for a while, so it's always good. But to see you, my friend.
And you, my friend.
Yeah, I
And
mean, like,
Jyuni, you of course.
oh, absolutely. I mean, you've done the intro and outro for Junkshop?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I contributed to the library a bit when I was learning my ropes on how to edit videos and stuff. Junkshop got to be my guinea pig on some of my ideas.
Oh, really? Can I see
Junkshop,
Julie's in the chat?
Julie's asking for a spanking.
Well, I think we have someone in the proximity who can in our panel here who can administer those the corporal punishment. Are you up for the task?
So I'm hearing all these spankings, and all I can think of is Monty Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Holy Grail. A spanking, a spanking.
Oh, well, here's the problem with me. I'm just, I'm not too cultured, or I'm just a, dumb millennial who doesn't know much of, certain things like, what was that again that you mentioned?
Oh, it's the movie that you're gonna have to go and watch immediately after the stream. Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It's a good one.
Oh, you see, yeah, I've heard of it. I just don't know
And-
much of it.
And don't trash the millennials. There's 3 of us out of the 5 right now who technically qualify. So careful there.
Actually, technically, I'm a millennial as well.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, I fall into it. It's,
I thought you were old.
Well, I've just turned 40, but
Oh yeah, you're a millennial.
Oh, that's, yeah.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
see, it's weird for me when they keep moving the date. So I was born in 81. So originally I was a Generation X, and then I was kind of this funny generation in between Generation X and Y that really didn't know where it was at. Then I became a Generation Y, and now I'm a millennial. So it's as the years. I mean, at some point they'll probably make me Gen Z or something.
Yeah,
But,
you'll be a Zoomer here in about 5.5 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, look out! I'll have
Yeah, I
to.
think 1980 to 1996, right? That's what they do for millennials now. If you're born between those time frames.
Yeah, 81 to I think it's 81 to 96. Yeah,
Yeah.
or 95 or 96.
Goodness gracious. I'm a boomer. Whenever someone says, okay, boomer, I go, yeah, what?
Well, so I guess me and Chris and Junkshop, at least, we were this generation where when they come up with the term millennial, and there was this a vocal group of the people. It's like, oh no, we're not millennials. We're not in that group with them, and came up with this term zennials. And I was thinking to myself, coming up with a new name so you don't have to be grouped with millennials is the most millennial thing that I've ever heard.
So I used to hate millennials, and then they made me one.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
Is
what
that
you
so?
get, Chris.
Yeah, see, I'm a '90s baby, so I mean, I don't know if anybody can top me in terms of that.
No.
We'll make you an honorary one of us.
I felt that way about teenagers. when I was in my late teens, I could not stand being associated with teenagers. And so my now husband, then fiance, called me on the night before my 20th birthday to say, teeny bopper, teeny bopper. And yes, I have known my husband since I was 19.
You were a teenager in the 70s, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would have been a cool time to be a teenager. I'm not going to lie. That would have been a really cool time.
Especially in the US, we were like really, there's a lot going on here.
That in the 80s. The 80s looked pretty cool. I was a teenager in the 90s. So, we were just miserable listening to Nirvana and all that kind of stuff and wallowing. But I think the 80s, I would have some of those, that new romantic kind of outfits in the early 80s and, some of the music they were putting out, I really would have digged that. I would have loved that.
So 80s style.
I remember it as a kid, but yeah.
80s style is going to make a comeback. This is the decade that the 80s is supposed to be nostalgia now. So
Yeah.
we can only hope.
And to
Duck
Mr.
and
Shadow,
cover, here come the hammer pants.
yeah, Mr. Shadow Kitty, we did not do the duck and cover drills, but we did watch the movies that showed us how to do it.
we didn't have duck and cover. We did have earthquake drills because they were like really worried about the New Madrid fault for some reason when I was in elementary school. It never did anything. The fault never really had much of an earthquake in my lifetime. It's had some small ones, but they'd have us do earthquake drills and say, "Oh yeah, the most dangerous fault in North America runs right underneath your feet." It's like, okay.
Almost
been
doctor since I was a
100
teenager in the
years since that thing went off.
2010s.
Still a teenager in the 2010s.
Holy heck, really? Oh my gosh. I was just graduating high school in 2010, so.
Well, if you ever see Matt, almost a Dr. Matt, with the beard he looks a bit older, but go back and look at some of his earlier videos where there's no beard and it's baby face. He has got the biggest baby face you'll ever see.
Looks like he's 14.
Oh yeah, he's probably cursing me at the moment for saying that, but we often have a bit of a laugh with him on Six Pack about his baby face.
So he just has to lose the beard, and then there you go.
That's it. But then we start tormenting him, and then he'll start talking science, and we all kind of just sit there looking dumb. So that's how he gets his revenge on us.
Yeah, I think as soon as he starts talking, he might be younger than me, but he sounds a lot more smarter and wiser and older than me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Were you like when you graduated? Was that 99 or 2000, Chris?
98.
98. Okay.
So had I been in America, it would have been 98, 99. But we do our school year starts in January, ends in December, sort of thing. So I was the class of 98.
Gotcha.
And what a year it was.
One thing I want to mention, when I was doing the description for this video, I always put everybody's links in the description. I noticed that Jyuni the Apostate has 99 subscribers.
So close.
If you are not subscribed to Jyuni the Apostate, please go and subscribe to Jyuni the Apostate, and we need to get
Jyuni, you just got to 100. You just got to 100.
Okay, very good.
Awesome.
Well, here's the thing. In Christmas, when I did the stream, I got over 100, but then those numbers just fell for some reason. I don't know if it's YouTube punishing me or.
It's the algorithm. Every time that I do something where I engage with a new community and get a influx of subscribers, anytime I get over like 5 or 6, a couple days later they all disappear and then they slowly come back. I don't know what the deal is. But,
I remember when I cracked 1,000. I think I cracked 1,000 about 5 times because it'd pop up and pop down. Mm-hmm. It was on a live stream though, so I suspect there was a few people mucking around, unsubscribing and resubscribing.
Messing with you.
I had the same issue when I hit 2,000. It would go over just a bit and then come back down. But I would say definitely collabs are absolutely the way to grow. I have done 2 collabs with Vice Rhino. And the first one is what put me over 1,000. And the second one is what put me over 2,000.
But you're
Yeah,
right.
definitely,
Yeah, that
definitely.
it took you forever to stay above 2,000 for any considerable length of time. It would go like 2.001, 1.998 as back and forth and back and forth and back.
Well, Junie, now you have to have 100 sub stream. We can hang
Yay.
out.
And register that custom domain name quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got the email and I don't know what to do with it. Like, what do I do with the
First thing,
e-
customize your URL so it's easier for us to put it in our stream
That's
when
the
you
word I was
visit
looking
us.
for, yeah.
Yep.
So that we can update that when we do our collabs. We need to do another collab too, Junie. We did one about octopus and whether octopus and squids were mortal enemies or something like that. Some claim like
yeah,
that.
exactly. And I was hoping to get GE part of it, but I know he's a busy man, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, if any of you ever feel like getting up early, there's always a spot on Six Pack on a Friday.
What time's the six pack over here on? I know it's
6
like
a.m.
It's Friday morning.
Eastern. Yeah, 6 a.m. Eastern on the on a Friday.
so that's 5
I
a.m.
always
here.
join it in progress because I don't have to get up until 6:30 or 5:30 or 6.
Yeah, no, it's I know it's because daylight savings ending for us and starting for you over there narrows it down to we get 2 hours back. So it's but anyone on the West Coast, it's near impossible to get them this time of year.
Yeah. I actually have more trouble getting. Oh, hey, Julie. I actually have more trouble setting my time up with people that are on the West Coast here than I do with the people over there. I've done, I have easier time scheduling something with like Mr. Bear than I do with Divine Disbelief or something like that. Yeah, just because they're on the West Coast and they're usually doing stuff what would be later here, like late in the evening, or when I'm doing parent stuff.
So you aren't all getting a lot of background noise from me, are you?
We can hear the children.
Okay. Now I thought so. They're having lunch at the moment and they're all fighting about lunch. So I'm just going to mute for a second, go and sort them out, and I'll be back in just 1 minute.
Sounds good.
Yeah. See, Bree was mentioning about parenting, and I thought that was, the children going on in the background.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow.
that was tied right to it. My kids usually don't make. Because I'm down in the basement, so usually if you hear anything, it's my dog barking. My little yappy dog likes to run through the house barking whenever somebody walks by on the street walking their dog. She gets really upset about that because that's her sidewalk and they shouldn't be on it, and she needs to complain about it.
Actually, she's absolutely wrong. Sidewalk is public domain.
Yeah.
When
Well,
you
you
buy
can't-
your house, there is an easement where the sidewalk is, and there's public access to the sidewalk. In fact, it's actually illegal to block access to the sidewalk.
Yeah, you can't tell it to a dog though. That's their
True.
sidewalk. Yeah.
True. True.
But
I thought
yeah.
you said the owner was telling you that was the dog's sidewalk.
Same here.
No, my dog was
Okay.
mad because it was her sidewalk.
Oh,
Everything that she can
okay.
see
I
out the
misunderstood
window.
you.
Yeah.
I
Everything
misunderstood
that she
you.
can see out the window is hers, and no
Mhm.
one's allowed to be there unless she decides it's okay. My bigger dog she's a husky German Shepherd mix, and she's generally pretty quiet. It takes a lot to get her stirred up. She's super smart, so she listens really well. The little one, not so smart, but really sweet.
I have a Shiba, and everything belongs to her within a 5-mile radius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she the Queen of Sheba?
Oh yeah.
So I have a cavoodle. He barks at the wind.
Barks at what?
The wind.
Oh yeah.
He protects us from that wind. Don't you worry. He's the funniest, friendliest dog. I think he's smart, but I also think he's a complete idiot. So he suits me very well.
I think while you were gone, you may have missed this comment, Chris, which was intended for you.
How do I raise spawn and feed them? Yeah, I know. It's, what can I say? It's the Bible said, "Go forth and multiply," and I did it, and then I became an atheist. And, so,
Yeah, they're going to develop a dependency though if you keep feeding them like that.
yeah, I know. It's really annoying. Like, it's well, I mean, the oldest one I'm teaching to cook, and she doesn't understand the ulterior motive behind that yet. That's okay. That's okay. No, it's they're going a little bit stir crazy. They all go back to school in a week, so we've had a lot of time at home, and I think they're a little bit over it. So. Yeah, they're looking forward to going back to school. I'm looking forward to them going back to school. It's a win-win. I get to do more streams when they're at school, so it's good.
I've homeschooled my daughter for about almost 2 years now. Ever since we got into the lockdown, and she has no intentions or wanting to go back. But I said, I might need her, one-on-one time. So we need to get you vaccinated, and maybe towards the spring we can get you back, at least a hybrid system.
Well, my oldest, he goes remotely, except for one class. He's got a graphic design class he has to go in for, which is really weird because I think of all classes, graphic design would be one you could do on a computer at home. But anyway, that's the only one he has to go in for. My younger two, they had the option to keep remote learning, but they weren't really doing very good at it. It was and I try to be sympathetic towards the teachers, because learning how to do that, and I mean their whole world got turned upside down as a teacher, and now they have 20 kids they got to keep track of on a monitor. So, but my youngest is still elementary school aged, and he really struggled to focus and stay attentive to what they're teaching him and what they're trying to do. So I was glad that he got to go back and kind of start getting back on track a little bit. But my daughter's teacher, she's in junior high, and they just never responded to us when we'd send messages to them. It was really hard to get cooperation with the school system. We still kind of have that problem when she's in the school, but at least we know that the teachers are there and she can ask them questions and stuff.
Yeah, we had multiple lockdowns here, where we had the kids at home, and I think the younger they are, the more difficult it is. So my middle child, he started kindergarten, well, not last year now, the year before. So the year that lockdown started, so his entire school experience has been in and out of lockdowns and homeschool, and it's sort of been a real mess for him. And I do have concerns about socially what that's done.
I have that thing with my youngest, so I'm with you about them not getting the social interaction with other kids and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, even I have a look at my oldest, and she's going into high school. So she's sort of used to engaging online, but I also do worry that maybe it's made them all engage online more than they would have, and maybe that's become how social interactions will work, which I think can be a sad thing. I think as humans, we need contact with other people, and yes, it's good to have contact online, but I think you need that physical contact. I think you need to sort of have people around. Well, sorry, I say that not everyone. I'm actually amazed that people don't believe it, but I'm actually very introverted and like to keep to myself. But I think I still do need to have that interaction with people face to face, and I think for kids it's such an important thing for development.
It's like missing the opportunity, having the opportunity to go out and interact with people is what's really missing. Not necessarily that you've got to go out all the time, but just having the choice to be able to go and interact with people, to go to I don't know, you're a sports fan, Chris, to go to a game or go to a concert.
Gosh, absolutely.
I love going to concerts.
It's just funny when our first lockdown ended. As soon as we could, everyone caught up, and it was great for about a week, and then I think we all got sick of it and just went back to how we normally were. And it's amazing how things, how normality can just kick in at any time. It was almost like we forgot. it's interesting. I'll see, on Facebook, it'll have the thing that here's a memory from a year ago or 2 years ago that'll pop up, and even little things like it's like some of the shortages we had, and you forget all that. You forget. It's just life gets back to normal so quick, and then when it gets thrown upside down again, it's crazy again. So it's but no, I miss a lot of things, and I look forward to all of this being over. I want to be able to. Well, I mean, initially my plan was last year to head over to the States and to annoy a few of you all. So hopefully I can do that. It probably won't be this year, but hopefully next year. It'll be nice to. I don't know. I just want things to go back to not how they were, but I just want a bit of normality again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last year, Granny, you got to meet Junkshop and Julie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was impressive. I mean, and I got to meet Purple and Jenny in person. That was
nice.
Quite a lovely drive.
Haven't got to meet anybody really, not yet. But
yeah, well, I hope to do that this year. Meet somebody in the group.
I've thought about going up and visiting Purple because they're not that far away from me. But
you're in Michigan, is that correct?
I'm in Illinois.
You're in Illinois, okay.
Oh, I'm in Illinois too.
Oz is having a conference in Fort Wayne in May. And
he invited me, told me to give me a table for all my bugs if I'd come. So I've been thinking about it.
I'm planning to go. I used to live in Fort Wayne, and Robin has a very close friend that still lives in Fort Wayne. And I was telling Oz that there's 2 businesses in Fort Wayne that I really miss that I want to go back and revisit, and that is DeBran Chocolate and Cafe Cinema. I'm sorry, it's Cinema Grill. Cinema Grill. Cinema Grill is a place where you go to the movies and they serve you dinner at the movie. And DeBran Chocolate is just one of the best chocolates in the world. I know how everybody feels about Trump, and I'm certainly no fan of Trump, but the chocolates that are in Trump Towers are DeBran chocolates. That's how good they are.
Well, I guess nobody can be wrong 100%.
But on the other hand, he also likes McDonald's, so he doesn't always have good taste.
I've never been to Indiana, so that'd be a new destination for me. Put that pin in the map.
See, my plan when I get over to the States, there's 2 places I have to visit. It's I've got a very strange bucket list, but Dinosaur Adventureland and the Ark Encounter. I just have to go.
Chris, then you want to come and spend the time at my house because I live approximately equidistant from both of those places. So you could spend a few days here, and we can make a day trip driving down to Dinosaur Adventureland, and then another day make a day trip up, or we might want to take a trip up to Kentucky and spend the night because that's a little bit more than a day trip to go see the Ark Encounter.
It's probably better to go to the Ark Encounter first because there's no guarantee you'll make it out of the Kenthoven compound alive. So it's we'll go to the safer one first.
But at the very least, you want to put off the whole business until he finishes the Tower of Babel, right? Because you don't want to do one and then have to come back to the country in 2 years to go to the Babel part.
Then you get to go to.
Hang on, is this a serious thing?
Yes.
Is the Tower of Babel getting?
Yes, he is building the Tower of Babel.
Who's building it?
Ken Ham.
Oh God, he's an idiot. He's a clown. Seriously.
What happened the last time someone built the
sorry,
Tower of
America.
Babel? Out of all the things to build from the Bible, what happens when you build a Tower of Babel? And he believes that that's true. So why would he try to emulate that?
Well,
he wants to inspire new languages.
We didn't have a flood.
Well, it's not seaworthy, though, right? Is it? It's attached to an office building. So it's not like he really built the ark. He built a reasonable facsimile of something very analogous.
Right.
We won't know until it floods and see if it floats. It's the only way to find out.
Wait, so will the Tower of Babel fall also?
It actually did flood and get flood damage.
Mhm.
Yeah. I saw they had some insurance claims for that. Yeah, that they
Yep.
had some flood damage. The irony is delicious.
Okay.
But
Chef
Chris,
kiss
you're
right
absolutely
there.
right about Dinosaur Adventureland. A couple people have mentioned, me going down there, and I say I would go down there, but not alone. I would
Yeah.
not go to that place alone.
No, see, I don't even know if is there actually anything there, or is it just like Kent Hovind roaming around his like compound?
It's so they have statues of old 50s style dinosaur statues all over the place. I know that. And they have
Oh,
some rides but it's not like carnival rides. It's like playground rides, like a rope swings and stuff like that. So really a niche destination, but they spend a lot of times riding around on four-wheelers and doing all the good old boy American stuff, jumping sand dunes and all that kind of crap.
Dinosaur
all the fun.
Adventureland and Tropical Shirt Museum.
They do have a science center apparently. I don't know what's in it, but he always talks about a science center. Imagine he's got it's like a auditorium with like gyros and stuff like that you can mess with.
I hear Julie cracking up there. So.
Yeah, Kent Hovind and science, they're just, it's like oil and water.
Almost a doctor. Yes, we definitely should collab about that. I have a lot to say about and I don't have a problem with anachronistic dinosaurs. I think they're a part of our history, and we shouldn't like destroy the statues or anything, but we should definitely be able to say, this is wrong. This is why we were wrong about that. This is what we discovered about the anatomy of these animals and why we reposition the way they stand or the way they articulate their necks, things like that. The Kent Hovinds and Ken Hams of the world, they refuse to move forward with the times and cling to that old-timey reptilian, cold-blooded depiction of Dinosauria that just isn't the case.
And if you haven't seen Brainbug's video on, what was it, Anacrosaurus?
Yeah.
Was that the name of it? That was amazing. Informative and hilarious. Best of both worlds.
That's what I go for. Got to keep you coming back.
I don't know which one is it, but like, is it the one? I know I saw one where you mentioned how it used to be that they were standing up, kind of like Godzilla style.
Yeah, dragging their tails, kangaroo stance is what I called it. Yeah, that's the Anacrosaurus video that I did. That's what it's about. It's about the, we move forward, the science move forward, but the creationists, they cling to that imagery. That basically what it is like Kent Hovind's boyhood image of a dinosaur is he never moved past that. What comes in the little plastic sets that's been around since the 1960s and using the same animal molds. Yeah, that's what he's clinging to.
Oh no! I mean, and recently, when I went to the Field Museum, I guess they added an extra part of the Sioux skeleton towards the bottom of the torso, or I guess the chest area.
Yes, they were working on that when I was there last time. They had it all boarded up, and you can only see her through this little window. It was unfortunate we couldn't get up closer to her, but I was excited to see they were adding to her. So what all did they add? Have you been in to look at it?
Yeah, they I guess they even added like certain projections to show which ones are like the newly added stuff. So I mean, I wish I was able to catch a video so I can post it, but I don't know if they would take it down right away.
Well, I've put up videos of myself going around a museum on my old account, and they never did anything, but it was more like home movies kind of style than.
Yeah, I do have a photo. If I don't know if I can put it up here or not, or if I'll end up picking myself up by doing so.
Yeah, it's been a couple.
Put it on your share, and I'll put it up.
It's been a couple of years since I've been to the Field Museum. Have you ever been to the Field Museum? Any of you all? I don't imagine Chris has, but
no, never been to the US. So
yeah, that's in Chicago. Great museum.
You can't ask me because I already mentioned that.
Yeah.
And I've been to the shed, and I love it.
Shed Aquarium.
I can't remember if I've been to the Field Museum or not. Most likely I have. It's been a long time though, but I do have a good story about the Shed Aquarium. Oh, we lost Junie.
Oop,
Junie must
there
be
she
having.
goes.
Junie probably tried to put that share up, and it probably took her out in the
Yeah.
process. But anyway, my funny story is it's the Shed Aquarium that finally broke me of young Earth creationism. Because when I went, I was thinking, fish cannot grow lungs and just climb out of the water. And then I went to the Shed Aquarium and I saw lungfish. And I said, oh, fish really did grow lungs. There they are. They're right there. Fish with lungs.
Yep, they used to be swim bladders in our ancestors, and as we became more and more dependent on absorbing our oxygen from the air, they really developed into a breathing apparatus. It's kind of funny we get convergent evolution with the sharks, because bony fish are closer related to us than to ray fin fish, even and lobe fin fish. Are kind of in a clade together, and then you got your sharks and cartilaginous fish over there. They don't have a swim bladder. That's why sharks got to kind of keep moving, because they don't have that buoyancy. But they developed their liver turned into a swim bladder, which is really interesting. I'm going to go off on a tangent about shark evolution, so y'all can just shut me up.
Talk fish, talk.
I know Junkshop loves fish. By the way, I like your pleco. What's his name? Merlin?
Oh, Merlin. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Got lips to die for. You know what a pleco is, Godless Granny?
No, I do not.
It's like the big sucker fish that stick on the side of the tanks and stuff, and they're supposed to be cleaner
okay.
fish, but
Okay.
yeah. Junkshop always keeps us up to date on the state of his pleco on Instagram. So if you don't follow Junkshop on Instagram, you're missing out. Not only that, there's also, I don't want to give too much away, but there's some black leather going on over there as well on Junkshop's Instagram. So yeah, if you're into black leather and fish, that's where you belong.
What's that
Well, I
Venn
came back at the
diagram?
wrong time.
Very small slice.
Yeah, nice niche you got carved out for yourself there.
Well, we all want to be the best at what we do. We've just got to find something that we're very good at that's very, very specific.
Welcome back, Jyuni.
Thanks. I caught fish in that talk. So yeah, do you still have your fish, Junkshop?
Oh yes, entirely too many.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad because my daughter's just recently, died. So she was very
Oh.
devastated.
I'm sorry.
So
Yeah, I don't know if it's something I did or
what kind of fish was it?
It was a few glowfish.
Goldfish? Okay.
Sorry, glowfish.
Glowfish. Yeah. They've got some genetic issues. Not surprising. Just like for the record. Yeah.
I had a saltwater tank when we lived in Indiana, and we had a number of fish over the years, and they'd live for a while and they died, but I could never keep that tank clean. No matter what I did, that there was always algae in the tank.
You had some saltwater fish in there?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have starfish?
Nope. The main thing I wanted was a royal grandma, which I did have.
Royal grandma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
That
sure
is
what
one.
that is.
That is a beautiful fish, and of course, being a grandma, I had to have a royal grandma.
I was gonna say.
I had a
that's
couple
pretty.
zebrafish. I had a couple tang. Nothing big. Some snails. There was a hermit crab. Oh, we got a couple of hermit crabs, and there one time I think there was one fish in there that we couldn't figure out how it got there because we'd never put it in there, and I think it was maybe a very tiny starfish or something. Krabby Hermit says tropical fish. Yes, we had tropical fish. My husband and I used to scuba dive before I ran into my severe spinal problems, and I've always enjoyed looking at fish. And one thing that was funny, we'd go down to Florida to go diving, and everybody else is lobstering. And they say, well, how many lobsters are you planning to get? And I said, none. We just want to see the fish.
I like snorkeling and going and looking at the fish. I want to go snorkeling someday. It's on my bucket list to go snorkeling in a kelp forest. But I'd also like to go snorkel at the Great Barrier Reef before it's gone. So I might be touring Australia too.
I'm going to say the Great Barrier Reef is amazing. The Great Barrier Reef isn't going anywhere. It's fine. I think it's actually growing. If you ever get the chance, it is just amazing. Like just the coral, the fish. It is. Pictures never do it justice, and I don't think I could adequately describe how beautiful and just diverse it is. It's an amazing place to visit.
Oh, I bet it's like walking in an alien world, isn't it?
Oh yeah, one that you don't want to leave.
Oh wow, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you've been able to get out there and see it. You should share some pictures with us sometime.
Yeah.
If you took any.
That was on my bucket list to dive the Great Barrier Reef, but now I can't dive anymore unless I get a young person to carry the tank for me. The problem is that I can't carry the
Or if you
tank.
get one of those scooter things with the fan.
Mhm.
You ever see those? You can ride around on one of those.
You can get the they do a lot of glass bottom submarines.
That I can do.
They're really good, and yeah, there's always options up there, always
Okay.
options. And the good thing is because a lot of the reef is so close to the shore, depending on what part of the reef you're in, of course, but there's always options.
I was
Now,
gonna
I've
say,
suddenly got this vision of Granny going around in one of those. What was those? Like little tiny one-person submarines with the harpoon gun from Thunderball. Sorry, it was a transition that made sense in my head. Pay no attention to that little man behind the curtain.
I was thinking about a memoir that I read about people that did free diving, and some of them use sleds to get down deep enough. It's ultra dangerous. The guy that wrote the book lost his wife free diving.
Yeah, so the amount of time some of those people can hold their breath for is crazy. I know there's I can't think of where exactly in the Pacific it is. It might be Fiji, but there's people who they'll just be underwater for longer than anyone should be able to hold their breath. Diving and fishing, and yeah, it's amazing.
Isn't there's an island population somewhere, and I'm drawing a total blank on where on the globe it is, but there is an island population where the people have evolved to be able to hold their breath for longer than like your standard human lung should be able to work for, because they're like divers as a society. They eat mostly fish.
And it's to say that they're
that's impossible. That's impossible because evolution is false.
Oh, but of course,
actually, they aren't even an island population. They're nomads who travel from island to island, and a little culture that moves around. And
that's
dies.
even better.
Yeah, I know the people you're talking about. I can't remember the name of them. They're Southeast Asian population, but they basically live on little traveling boats and with like houseboats essentially, and go around, and they spend a lot of their time in the sea.
Now, Chris, that's not entirely accurate. Evolution within a kind is still something that happens, and so it would still be of the human kind.
And you can see that on my video number 5 in the series. Now send me some money.
I love
7 DVDs, $400.
I love that Ken Hovind has decided that Denisovans and Neanderthals are humankind.
Well, that's nice of him, isn't it?
well,
Very inclusive of the old gentleman.
See, they all say that he's a bigoted person who doesn't accept others, and he's just accepted the Neanderthals. So good for him. Good for him. And the Denisovans.
But you believe you're related to a mosquito.
Well, hang on. Was your grandfather an elephant?
The funny thing is that Hovind has Denisovans and Neanderthals evolving from Anglo-Saxons because Noah was an Anglo-Saxon and all the other humans died in the flood. So they
Ouch.
evolved from
Ouch.
Noah.
Ouch.
Remember that
Ouch.
famous Bible verse about Noah being Anglo-Saxon?
Yeah. It's like when you hear, well, if the King James Bible, King James English was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me.
Yep.
Written by the greatest American who ever lived.
He was a true American hero, Jesus.
Well, you know what Matt Powell said about that. That African Americans evolved into other Americans.
Oh,
And
no.
so why are there still Americans living in
What? Hang on. Sorry. I've heard something about he had some stupid argument, but so he's saying that African Americans evolved into what?
Other Americans.
Are we talking about Matt Powell?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
It was so stupid that even Matt Powell took the video down. But fortunately, Hemet Meta had kept a copy. And there are a lot of us that have a copy because Hemet Meta kept it before it took it down.
But you're talking about
even Matt Powell realized that was a stupid thing to say.
You're talking about the guy who said, well, fire is different in space.
He said that?
Yeah.
I thought he said air was. I thought he said there was air in space.
The air is different in space, so the fire is different from the sun.
Okay,
that's what it was. It was the air is different in space. We were talking about how the sun burns.
This hurts my head.
And what we had, Civil War pterodactyls.
Yes, I love what John Christian has here. I remember evolving as Canadian. It was.
That politeness gene just really kicked into overdrive, didn't it? It's a recessive trait issue. Yeah.
Almost doctor says no. It was the air in space.
The air in space. Yeah, that was right. The air in space, not fire in space, is different. Air in space.
Can we get Matt Powell to try and breathe the air in space?
That's a good idea.
Well,
bottle him some space air and give it to him.
So Kent Hovind debated my friend Leo Felius a couple weeks ago, and Kent Hovind actually looked at him on there and said, "What color is space time? Can you give me a jar of space time?" And his cronies were laughing. It's like, "Oh my God, do you know how dumb what you just said sounds?"
But see, what you've got to remember with people like Kent Hovind, Matt Powell, Ken Ham, they're not making arguments for any of us here. They're not making arguments to convince people that the Bible is true. They're making arguments for people who don't really know too much about science that they can grift on, who are within their Christian community. It's not atheists, scientists, or anyone else who are buying the Kent Hovind series. It's churches and people. I remember sitting at churches, sitting in church groups, and we were all watching the Kent Hovind series because that's what happened. And with no scientific knowledge, I mean, how do you defend it? I mean, I don't have I'm not a scientific person. It's a lot of it's why I always sort of joke whenever I've got Matt on with me. It's he'll start talking science, and I've got no idea what he's talking about. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, that's
he'll
just
have no idea what he's talking about either, though. I can promise you that.
Yeah, but for the people who don't understand, just the average layperson who's in the church who they're starting from the position of the Bible is true and there is a God. A lot of that stuff will fit into that worldview and make sense, and that's where their grift is. It's they'll have a debate with someone like Theophilus, and we can all watch it and go, well, Leo is obviously won the debate and has the better arguments and knows the science, but then someone from the Christian viewpoint will watch that and just go, Kent Hovind absolutely demolished. Yeah, what color is it? Yeah, that's right. He didn't have an answer for that. Checkmate atheist. And that's who they're grifting to. That's what they're not out there for genuine scientific discussion or genuine discussion with the other side. Everything they do is about appealing to their own audience, which I guess we all do to an extent, but they're really grifting to their own audience.
That was very much the perspective when I was growing up in the church. It was, you would listen to people like Kent Hovind or the moral equivalent, and nobody was pretending that this was an argument you make to, the godless, heathen, communist, atheist, pagans. It was, here is what they think, and isn't it stupid? Ha ha. Thank goodness we know Jesus and the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could just sort of put all of the nonsense in a big box labeled the world and stick it on a shelf somewhere and drag it out when you needed a good laugh.
That's why they call it worldly when you start to lean that way. Oh, you're being swayed by worldly science or worldly beliefs.
Yeah. That's just the enemy. That's just the enemy trying to trick you.
And I fell for that stuff hook, line, and sinker. And a prime example, back when I was a teenager, someone showed me this pamphlet about how carbon dating is absolutely bonkers, because they took a live mollusk and carbon dated it, and it showed that it was 100,000 years old. And they took two objects from the same thing, and they dated to eons apart. And I did not know until after I deconverted that carbon dating is only accurate for something that's in the range of 50,000 years old. I didn't know that.
But they don't want to teach you that. And the thing is, I look at someone like Kent Hovind is not an idiot. Mm-hmm. He's a horrible, horrible human being, but he's not an idiot. And he knows a lot of the arguments he is making is false. But the thing is, that's his grift, and he's not ever going to come out and correct himself because there's no benefit for him to do that. He's not under scrutiny from the people who are buying what he's selling.
Right. As a matter of fact, he's got to stay. He's got to maintain that incredulity persistently. It's got to be. He cannot slip on that, because that's what the people are paying him to do. To be to represent their incredulity towards any scientific claims, like space-time. Well, I don't know what space-time is. That guy can't even tell me what color it is, or can't even show me a jar of it, but he's going to tell me it's real. I mean, there's that incredulity that they foster in Kent Hovind, so he's got to keep that up in order to maintain the grift.
Yeah, exactly right. It's and I think a lot of the time they'll double down. And with Kent, one thing to understand with Kent is he's very charismatic. He's a funny guy. He knows how to talk. He knows how to present. He uses a lot of neuro-linguistic programming in his speech and his actions. He's very interactive, and he knows his audience. Now, I think he hurt himself with a few of the things he's done, like the tax evasion and assaults and things like that. But without that, he would be one of those. He would be an ultra respected mainstream kind of evangelist by now, especially with the internet. He would be huge. And people would be buying. I mean, Ken Ham, the amount of money he secured to build that ark, and now the Tower of Babel, apparently, it's mind blowing. I know
Hovind could have had that if he hadn't gone full, but hadn't got caught up in the sovereign citizen movement. That's what killed him right there. That's what destroyed his chances of being huge. And I'm not saying Ken Ham is huge, but he's a lot better off than Hovind is right now.
Well, he found his audience. I mean, he tried it here in Australia, and I mean, we're a reasonably secular country here. It's most people who will say that they're religious and not church going. I remember the statistics when I was going through Bible college was they said about 10% of the population is church going, and really only about half of them are what we would call, actually Christians. The rest are just kind of going along because it's what they've always done at a Catholic church or whatever. So he did try it here, and he got a little bit of traction within a very small niche, but he was never. It's just not culturally. It's just not for us. Whereas I guess that Bible Belt in America is, and because of the wealth of America as well. There was, he found his niche. He got over there, and that's what he did. A similar thing with Ray Comfort. I mean, New Zealand, they wouldn't be putting up with his rubbish in New Zealand. Let me assure you. But he got over and he found his. He found his place and his people, and I do often. It's funny because I hear a lot of the stories from a lot of you in the US and the experiences you have, and we've sort of got this vision from, I guess, popular culture and media of this very secular US with a little bit of Jesus thrown in certain parts, but that's just kind of like the people down south. And it amazes me what a religious country you've got there.
Yeah, it's most parts. It's like when you look at a map of look at our election maps, you can kind of see where those lines are drawn. The blue will be basically not even all, but where all the secular people are, and then the red, that sea of red, is all these rural little small farm towns and stuff and villages that are very, very conservative and very set in their old-fashioned ways, and very, very hard to grow up in those communities, I'll tell you.
One of the things that I found really telling was very recently when those tornadoes went through Tennessee. The mainstream media, which is coming out of New York City, coming out of ultra-liberal areas, focused so much on religion. Look at this church that was destroyed. Look at these people who lost their church and they're still having church services. And we're all going to pray. Our thoughts and prayers are with the people. And I get that, we need to have some sympathy for these people. I'm not complaining about that. But really, there was way too much focus on people lost their churches. And who cares about people's churches? People lost their homes and it's Christmas.
Die.
Yeah.
And what about other places of worship?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of you're all in the city. Are there a lot of like synagogues and mosques and stuff in the cities in Tennessee and that area?
Yes.
So
really?
you got some in your neighborhood.
Well, I can only speak for Memphis, but I lived literally next door to a mosque for many years, which was across the street from a Methodist church, which was down the street from a Baptist church, which was across the street from a 24-hour coffee shop, which was next door to a bar, which was across the street from a Presbyterian church. Welcome to me.
There was no Catholic church?
Yeah, they tend to be a little either further south or east.
Yeah.
We congregate as humans. We find our people and we build our places of worship, and then we build our dive bars and casinos and stuff.
Yeah. You gotta go sin so you can be safe from it. Sorry, Jyuni. I mean to step on you.
No, you didn't.
But Eric Hovind is a good example, like what Chris was saying, though, that Kent's arguments aren't like all that different from your general apologist. It's just what else he does that gives it that is negative to his characters. It's the sovereign citizen crap. It's the tax evasion and all that. If he just stuck to being a religious grifter like his son did, then he'd probably be doing all right.
His problem is his ego, though. His ego is going to be his downfall, and will continue to be his downfall, because he just thinks that everything, like all this, the sovereign citizen stuff, he ties it in because it's something that he wants to buy into, or he sees a grift there, and the tax evasion. How he thought he would get away with that is beyond me. That is beyond me. But I reckon he's got money buried.
Oh, I'm sure he's got money someplace, because someone running a operation like that, like Dinosaur Adventureland, they have to have some kind of secret nest egg somewhere to escape to when it all comes crumbling down.
Oh, guarantee it. He wouldn't want to go back to jail for 10 years. I can tell you that much.
You can actually see that Eric, though, is easier to engage with, I think. I see him engaging with people like Paula Gia, and I think he talked with, I don't know, he's talked with a few different people, but he's easier to get engaged with Kent because he doesn't have that condescension, I guess it is. But
he's still running the same grift. I mean,
same arguments. It's just from a different.
He's just the nicer. He's just puts it across in a nicer manner, which in a way I think can actually be a little bit more evil. But he basically steals his father's lines, like word for word, his jokes and everything. And
right.
And there's a little bit more than coincidence there. But look, he's on a grift. He knows he's on a grift. But you know what? It's the family business.
Well, the production, whatever that ministry he's with now puts out, it's pretty like high quality compared to what his dad's putting out in his clunky ass streams where he whacks
but his dad's more popular.
Yeah. Whacking his SpongeBob doll with a hammer.
Hey, I keep waiting for the day that he comes after me, although I'll admit I haven't done anything about him for a while, but I will consider myself to have made it if I get featured on Whack an Atheist.
That's when you know you've made it, when he comes after you with his little hammer.
Badge of honor. That would be a badge of honor.
Oh, yeah. That would be my thumbnail from now till the end of time, was him bashing my cartoon head with his little hammer. Yeah. Oh.
See, I think for me, I think that would be the final moment of closure for me, to either debate Kent Hovind or have some interaction with him, because it's just with my past and having sat and run groups where we're watching his videos or his series together. I think I would get a lot of closure from that.
I guess you can say
strange as that is,
final nail in the coffin or the final nail in the cross.
Yeah.
Speaking of engaging with an apologist, Chris, did you know that I kind of came into this community because I found your debate with Darth Dawkins? That's
no,
really
I didn't know that.
Through you, I found it was the Daily Atheist, Chris Mallard, and found that community, and then kind of all the people that he would have as guests on. I'd follow them and engage with people in the chat. But what brought me there was I found some video of somebody arguing with Darth Dawkins, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's an ass. I wonder if there's more on that. And I found your video, and you utterly flipped him on his head with your when you came in there saying you were Hindu. I just loved that. Yeah.
My goal for that was to get him to admit that his own argument was stupid, which and I sort of it went a little bit differently to how I expected it to, because originally I was going to do the Hindu version, and then halfway through I was going to say, you know what, I think you're right. I'm actually now convinced that Scientology is true, and then use the same argument for Scientology, but he fell into it so perfectly with the first one. It was just like, I didn't think it was going to be this easy. It's okay. Let's do it. But and that's the thing with these presuppositionalists. I mean, Darth Dawkins is an arse in general. I don't think he's actually a Christian. I just think he's someone who likes to argue and hear the sound of his own voice on the internet. But with these presuppositional points of view, it's fine for them if they're starting from their religious worldview, but throw any other religious worldview in and use the same argument, because they can't answer that. It's like when I said that there was the three different gods within Hinduism, and they work like they work together. And he went, well, that's impossible. I said, well, hang on, what about the Trinity? The Holy Trinity is exactly the same thing. One of the same. This is ridiculous. That's right. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yes,
yeah. Precepts are about my least favorite thing to engage with, but I did enjoy watching your interaction with him. That's still up too. If anybody hasn't seen it, Chris still has that video up of his debate with Darth Dawkins. Jay was moderating that, right?
Yeah, Jay moderated that one. It's funny because at the end of it, Darth had thought that he won, and him and all these fanboys were saying, "What a great job! Oh, well done to the moderator." It's kept that nasty atheist in line. And then when they realised that no, it hadn't gone the way that they thought it was, they it was the moderator. We'll never ever deal with him again. He was a terrible moderator. And me and Jay were watching this, just going, "Oh, this is funny. This is funny." He's gone from the best moderator and kept that atheist in line to terrible. It was the moderator that they started looking for all these excuses. And Darth's line about me now is he said, "Oh, he lied. He lied about being a Hindu." It's like it was pretty obvious that I wasn't a Hindu.
It was a thought experiment that he just refused to engage with. That was the problem. I mean, your name was the atheist pastor, and you came in there and said, "Yes, I've converted to Hindu. This is the position I'm going to be arguing from for this debate," and he wouldn't have it. No, you're not Hindu. You're not. You're lying. It's like it's a thought experiment. Can you not grant a premise? That's the big problem with Darth, is he can't grant a premise to move the conversation forward.
Well, see, and that's one thing I was hoping, because I mean my strength is history, and in particular, the Bible, because I've studied both. I was happy to grant him, all right, let's just say for a second that there is some kind of divine being that's created everything. How do we determine which one it is? Let's talk about the Bible, because there's so many inconsistencies in the Bible, both or with the Bible, both internally with what the Bible claims, and then historically, there is no way that the Bible is true. It's impossible, because it contradicts itself. It absolutely contradicts itself.
Who was the father of David anyway? Or Joseph? What's the one you always go to? I'm sorry.
Joseph. Yeah, it's
Joseph.
That's my favorite one. If you have a look at the lineages in Matthew and Luke, there's two different lineages for Jesus. Now, if the Bible is 100% accurate and true, that means Joseph had two dads, which I think is very progressive for 2,000 and a bit years ago.
Are you sure that wasn't his first name and his last name? Or maybe he was known by two different names. I mean, Saul was later called Paul. Maybe he just had two different names.
See, well, that is an argument that I often do get, but the thing is, they're actually descended from two different sons of David, and two different sons that we know of. So we can actually say, well, no, this is clearly two different lineages, and the reason that there is the two different lineages is because when they were trying to work out exactly what was going to be the canon of the Bible, Luke and Matthew were very similar, and you had one group that followed Luke, one group that followed Matthew, and had you have excluded one, you would have had a schism. So they just put them both in, and because the priests were the only ones who could really read at the time, didn't think it would be a problem, which it probably wasn't for about 1,200-1,300 years. But yeah, it's. I mean, that's a really obvious one in the Bible. If the Bible is the absolute perfect word of God, that means that Joseph had two dads, which means that
were related.
Yeah, so very distantly related.
Very
but
distant. Yep.
No, so and that would be the thing. That would be.
I support Joseph's dads. I can't.
So do I. I think it's wonderful. I think it's I'm sure that they were all at the Rainbow Parade in Bethlehem together. Marching for pride, and it's. Yeah. But no, it's. Well, I guess Jesus technically had two dads, didn't he? So, it was a bit of a family tradition. And then he went and hung around with 12 men. So, Anyway, that really upsets Christians when you mention that to them, because it's some, I mean, some will laugh, and I guess the ones who are very orthodox in their worldview, that can really sort of mess with their minds a little bit. But it's, I mean, there's the arguments that are made against that are the called by different names. I've heard, one was written in Greek, one was written in Aramaic, which
who discovered the tomb is the big one for me. That's the one that always stands out to me. Is were there 3 women? Was there one woman? Was it Mary Magdalene?
I think the worst one is, did Jesus tell the disciples to remain in Jerusalem until Pentecost, or did he tell them to go and meet him in Galilee?
And look, it's obvious to us now because we've got access to all this information.
Mm-hmm.
But for a good part of the last 2,000 years, there certainly hasn't been that. And it's only, I mean, even probably the last 20 in particular, with the internet really taking off, is when we've really been able to look at all this information, look at all these other ideas in real time as we think of it. Whereas before people would go to church, they'd have their Bible, and let's be honest, most people who go to church wouldn't know, a lot of the Bible. They know the main stories from the Bible, and they know what's preached to them. So I think there's an awakening for a lot of people. I remember, I was studying at Bible college, and it was studying the Bible and the Old Testament in particular, and that gave me a lot of the realizations that, hang on, this isn't right. And I'd spent years in church, and I'm someone who, I like to read, I like to study things, and I hadn't picked up on a lot of this stuff until I actually went in and studied it properly at an academic level. And then all of a sudden it was like, my eyes opened, and all this other stuff started to, hang on, and this and this and this. You couldn't honestly understand everything in the Bible and accept that it's true unless it was purely from a belief position. And I understand that people will have belief positions. I used to have one myself, and I understand that belief positions do funny things to the brain, and you do backflips to sit everything in the way you want it to. But when you look at that book purely for what it is, it's too many inaccuracies for it to even remotely have a possibility of being true. It proves itself false.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With that, we really have got to wrap it up. We're already nearly 10 minutes over, and we haven't even started to do our closing thoughts and shill time. And I do like to give everyone a chance to shill for themselves. So I'm gonna stop us there, and we'll probably pick this up again another day. And Chris, I think I'd like to have you back and make that the topic for the night, and
Absolutely.
just talk about contradictions in the Bible.
I
have a funny story along those lines.
We could do a 10-part series on it.
Yes. That sounds good. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go around and let everyone have an opportunity to give any closing thoughts that they might have. Tell us a little bit about themselves. I'm going to start with Jyuni, and also mention to the audience, if you are not subscribed to Jyuni, please subscribe to Jyuni. I've been watching Jyuni's subscriber count, and it's currently at 103. We've got to get Jyuni at least to 110, because otherwise Jyuni won't necessarily be able to keep the 103. As soon as a couple people don't watch some videos, it automatically takes them off the subscriber list. So please, if you're not subscribed to Jyuni, please subscribe to Jyuni. And with that, Jyuni, tell us what you have going on.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Y'all are too much. Well, I know last month I was doing the stream, and I'm really trying to get at least a video per month. So this month I'm working on trying to get the a timeline for 2021. In my view, like in terms of my perspective and what I've experienced throughout the whole year. So I think that'll be kind of like a thing that'll be after January It's just recollecting everything that has happened within the year. And then maybe I'll do a video on Trumpism. Yeah, because we survived January 6th. So, yay. But yeah, I'm going in and out of getting 100 subscribers, and hopefully once I get to a stable number, past 100, I will open up my Patreon. And with that, I'll mainly do like a one-time thing if it's possible. And anybody who does Patreon, I will do my best to do an art piece for them. And if they want a physical copy, I'll be happy to ship them one. Other than that, I will. My only thing that's stopping me again is just because I've run out of room on my device. So I'm just trying to get my equipment.
107.
Yeah, Jyuni, I noticed that too. Jyuni, you're at 107 now. You're almost there.
Yay! I never expected to even get to this number this fast. So
I didn't expect to get to 100 either.
yeah.
Jyuni, did you see the Supreme Court decision today?
I mean, I heard a lot of news today, but nothing.
Okay, there was the Supreme Court today decided that Trump's papers are not private, that the January 6th committee is going to get access to all of the White House documents, memos, tapes, anything that went on January 6th that is in the White House is going to be made available to them. And guess who and the decision was 8-1. And guess who the one dissenting vote was?
Oh, wait, it has to be a court judge, right?
It wasn't a court. It wasn't a Trump appointee.
It wasn't Kavanaugh?
No, all of Trump's appointees voted in favor of releasing those documents. And the one who voted against was the one that I knew would vote against. And I want to make sure I get his name right. I'm looking up the name right now. Let's see. I believe it's Clarence Thomas. Yeah, Clarence Thomas. And you know why it was Clarence Thomas? Yeah, because Clarence Thomas's wife was tweeting about what was going on January 6th and may possibly have been, I don't want to say involved because that's too strong a word, but definitely was cheering it on. And so, yeah, Clarence Thomas is the one that wants to keep it secret.
That's insane. Okay, because I thought I misheard and say, well, they're not going to, allow anything to be leaked out and just keep it all hidden.
That's
great news.
Now, it doesn't go to the public. It's going to the investigative committee. But still, the committee is going to get it.
What would the public do? When you hear Kepler say, well, if you watch Jordan Kepler, he would say like, oh, did you read the transcript to the Trumpers? Like, no, I did not read the transcript. So what does it matter? Who reads them?
Okay, Junkshop, what are you up to and what would you like to say?
I haven't been up to very much online lately. Between an unexpectedly accelerating work schedule and some significant mental health struggles that I've been pretty open about, I've been largely keeping to myself online. So I was particularly thankful to be invited on for this, and this has been good. This has been a lot of fun. It's good to see everyone, and it's nice to meet Chris, who I hadn't met in person yet before, at least to the best of my memory. As all of my various stuff you can find through Twitter or Linktree or mayhemandfoolishnessproductions.com. That sounds like a joke, but it's a real thing. Thank you.
And there's a whole library, filled with your lovely narrations.
What book of the Bible were you on last? Because we'll pick that back up again at some point.
Oh, we'll get back into it at some point. Somewhere in the minor prophets, they're all the same. Jerusalem, sad, sad. God angry. Jerusalem, sad, sad.
But they have rights to Canaan. That's the main thing that you got to take away from the book.
Brainbug, closing thoughts, and what do you have going on?
What do I have going on? I actually have a lot of stuff lined up. I don't have a lot of dates yet. I do know that every Saturday at 9:30 Central Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday mornings here in the Midwest, I do Live from the Hive. It's a show where we do talk about various topics, but generally with science or bug bend. We'll also talk about some cryptozoology, which is always fun. And if you like that, then also on Fridays, I release a crypto corner video where we review the cryptozoology section. So if you can't make it for the morning, you can watch it on Friday night. Also to have a show that releases on Monday. It's also clipped out like that so that you can catch up and keep up with what's going on in the Hive. I have a investing fiction somewhere on the chopping block for me and Ring to get together and do. We're going to do part on his channel and part on their channel and part on my channel, and talking about Starship Troopers, and that should be a fun topic to delve into. And me and our doctor friend out in the live chat, I'm talking about Almost a Doctor. We have also been talking about collaborating on some different topics. So we should have that coming up in the future as well.
Okay. And Chris, how about you?
So I'll give one closing thought, and it's one thing I want to encourage everyone to do, and that's find someone who has a drastically different opinion to yourself and have a conversation with them, not to try and change their mind, not to have your mind changed, but just to understand what they think and why they think. I think it's something that really can be, even if you walk away not liking them at the end, have the conversation. It will do wonders for you if you start having those conversations. So my channel is Hereticals. We've got two main shows. So I'm going to give you the US times, because I'm assuming most people here are from the US, and if you're from anywhere else in the world, just message me and I'll let you know. But 7:30 a.m. on a Wednesday, we have a show called Cults and Conspiracies, where usually myself, Jay, and we've had Claire Bear on a fair bit with us lately. Look at either a different cult or a different conspiracy. Sometimes it can just be a one shot. Sometimes it can be a multi-parter. We just did I think it was a 6-parter on Nexium. We're in the middle of the Raelian movement at the moment, which I suspect will probably be about a 6 or 7-parter. But then we'll also do something like we had a fun one the other day on did Paul McCartney die and get replaced? So we try and mix it up with a bit of religious stuff and a bit of fun stuff. So that's 7:30 on a Wednesday morning for those of you in the US, Eastern time. On a Friday is probably the show we're best known for, Friday Night Six Pack. That's 6 a.m. on a Friday. That's myself, Jay, who used to be from Nevermore Tavern. Now he's from True Serial. Claire Bear, Matt, Almost a Doctor, and Jen formerly of Jen's Little Corner, now Holly Mathick. The 5 of us, and we normally have at least 1 or 2 guests that will pop in with us. This week we've got Oz from Tang, who's going to be on with us. So that's going to be a really cool conversation, and that's it's sometimes it can be a serious show, but generally we just try and have a place where people can come together in the community and just have a bit of fun. We'll look at things like funny memes and social media stuff. Claire's been giving us some Am I the Arsehole Reddit stuff, and we'll talk about relevant topics within the community, but ultimately it's the purpose of the show is just somewhere where people can come and just hang out, just come and have a laugh and be yourself. I do have some content now that kiddies are going back to school. I've got a lot more content that's going to be coming out to do with, I think Answers in Genesis seem to be the gift that keeps on giving. So I'm going to be looking at a lot of their things. And I say this every time, but if you're not following Godless Granny on Twitter purely for her responses to Answers in Genesis, you are missing out. They are the best. But yeah, I've got to have a lot more videos coming out and a lot more, I guess, more atheist-focused content as well. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm at atheist_pastor. But yeah, motto of our channel is we don't care what you believe, what your politics are, what your thoughts on any particular issue are. You are welcome in our community, and we are happy to talk to you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, Jyuni, I don't know when you sent this because I wasn't checking Twitter, but I'd asked Jyuni to send the picture, and here it is. What was this a picture of again, Jyuni?
This was in the Field Museum. Yeah, I sent this when I kicked myself out because I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought that's probably what caused you to get kicked out.
On this picture, as I understand it, the whole bottom part of the rib cage that you see there underneath her, that's all new for this reconstruction. Is that right, Jyuni?
Yes. So it makes her a little bit more like, I guess,
robust,
bigger in the middle. Yes.
and Tyrannosaurs, there's no other theropod that compares. They were built like tanks. You look at a lateral view of any other theropod, and they're all fairly slender. Not a T-Rex. They are massive. They were the grizzly bears of the Mesozoic.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, and what I have coming up on my channel, produced video this week, Eric Metaxas' new book, Is Atheism Dead? He's trying to compare to the 1966 Time article that asked, is God dead? And so he's asking the question, is atheism dead? And I don't actually have a copy of the book. The review is based on an interview that he did with Larry Sparks. I can't remember if that was his name, but anyway, but he did an interview about the book, and I did a reaction to the interview. Next week, I had a guest lined up, and it was a really good guest, but unfortunately, he had something come up and he had to cancel. And I'm just really happy that he gave me a week and a half to try to find another guest. So I need a new guest for next week. If Chris is free, Chris and I will come back and we'll do contradictions in the Bible if that works out according to Chris's schedule, and if not, I'll find something else. But yeah, next week is free, and then after that, I don't have an opening until March 2nd. I have people booked all through February.
Pains of popularity.
Yeah, actually, there is one day that's open, but it's only open because it's my husband's birthday, so I didn't schedule a guest. There will be no stream on February 23rd. That's my husband's birthday.
Happy birthday, Godless Granny's husband.
Okay, and with that, thank you to everyone who is in the chat. You have been a wonderful audience. Most of you have been here since the beginning, and it was wonderful having all of your comments. You've added so much to the discussion, and you're a big part of the reason why we are doing this. You know, you are a big part of the community, and you are a big part of the show. And thank you to all of my guests who made this such a lively discussion. I had not intended this to go anywhere near this long, but there was just so much to talk about. It was just such a wonderful time talking with all of you. So thank you all for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And with that, live your life.
Night.